The highest honor Florida State University can bestow upon one of its faculty members is the Lawton Award, the Distinguished Professorship. This year's graduation speaker is this year's Lawton Distinguished Professor Award recipient. His name is Dr. Walter Schenkel. His passion is fire ants. You don't talk to Walter until you talk about ants. Even today, under his robe, he has a tie with fire ants on it. His 2000 book, Fire Ants, was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize in the field of ecology and biology. In addition to being an outstanding researcher, he is an outstanding faculty member. Walter Schenkel has never taught a student who didn't recognize him as one of the most outstanding faculty at Florida State University. In addition, Walter, like most of us at Florida State University, marry well beyond our means. He married the former Department of the Secretary of Environmental Protection, Vicki Schenkel. Vicki, where are you? She's here somewhere. Thank you, Vicki, for coming. It's my privilege to introduce to you Florida State University's 2007 graduation speaker and Lawton Award recipient, Dr. Walter Schenkel.
Thank you, President Wetherill. Students, parents, fellow faculty, honored guests, welcome to all of you to this graduation celebration. I want first to congratulate all of you students for your achievement of this important waypost in your lives. But before going any further, I want us all to acknowledge the love and support of the parents and family members who have made your achievement possible. Please give them a resounding hand. To the parents, thank you for entrusting your children to us. I offer special congratulations to those of you who are the first in your families to graduate from college. We at FSU are particularly proud of our role in your achievement, and your families are no doubt especially proud of you. Thank you. I offer the passage of a human being through life is marked, indeed celebrated, with a number of rites of passage, some universal, others more culturally limited. Baptism, puberty rites, marriage, the birth of children, retirement, funerals. To this list we can add graduations, the rite of passage that celebrates your completion of a higher level of education through 4 or perhaps more years of dedicated study. Well, there's probably some dedicated rabble-rousing too, I imagine. Your professors and administrators have certified that you have accomplished sufficient expertise in your chosen subject to be called bachelors or masters or doctors. So here we all sit in the funny garb of medieval monks, wearing funny hats, yours are funnier than mine, and long robes designed for cold climates and unheated rooms built of cold stone, celebrating your achievements. If you ever needed evidence that universities are conservative institutions preserving culture across generations, this ceremony should convince you. But hidden within these medieval trappings is an important point. Universities are the greatest cultural institutions of the modern world, and you have now partaken of that culture. The partaking has changed you in ways you may not fully understand or be fully aware of, but which will unfold over the next decades on the foundations that you made here. Your university degree is much more than mere job training. It marks you as an educated person with the outward-looking open-mindedness and receptiveness that this implies. So as you now think about what you want your future to be, Remember that life is capricious. Forgetting to change the batteries in your alarm clock could change your life, as could signing up for middle-high German simply because it happened to fit your schedule. Trivial decisions may matter, and so-called important decisions may not. This, of course, is the trite stuff of movies, but it's trite because it's true. The ability to cope with this capriciousness resides in the nature of your character and in your attitudes. Are you open to opportunity? Do you recognize it when it appears? Or do you call it a problem? Are you prepared to be flexible and willing to change? Do you assume responsibility for your own fate? Is it your life, or are you the helpless victim of circumstances? Whether or not the university experience has contributed to your adaptability is for you to answer for yourself. But I can tell you what we have tried to do in the years that you were under our guidance. We have tried to instill a number of core values: open-mindedness and the free exchange of ideas, critical thinking based on facts and principles, and the love of lifelong learning. I promise you, we did not harp on critical thinking until you were ready to throw up in order to torture you, but because a modern democratic society, with its enormous degree of popular input, depends upon the ability and willingness of its citizens to understand and weigh facts, to think critically, and to do so in an ethical context. This ability is also essential for getting through life in one piece. The world is full of snake oil salesmen, and they know their business well. Open-mindedness is essential for success because knowledge is not a fixed product or endpoint, but an endless quest. The truth is that for all we do understand, there is much, much more that we do not understand. And always, to use the wonderful words of H.L. Mencken, there it sits, nevertheless, calmly licking its chops. Our ignorance before this big dark mystery requires us to be humble in our knowledge, and humility suggests an open mind, receptive to continual learning as long as there is breath. The fact that you may not have any more exams does not mean that you should not go on learning. A couple of years ago, I received an email from someone in Minnesota who wrote that he was a senior who had recently become passionately interested in ants, it's my field, as you heard, and was looking for an opportunity to do some research on ant biology. I wrote back asking him if he intended to go to college, and of course suggested FSU. He answered, no, actually he was 88 years old. Oh, that kind of senior. But for all his life, he'd like to learn new things. When you are 88, will you still be interested in learning? Will the fire that we hope we kindled at FSU still burn bright, or at least glow? And frankly, I'd settle for smolder. If so, we professors will die happy. And if you do your math, you'll see that actually most of us will be long dead when you're 88. No doubt you have plans, large, modest, or small. How will you know what is the right life path for you? The honest answer is you won't. Life is uncertain. Accept this reality and your anxiety will subside. Does this mean you shouldn't plan? No, it doesn't. But don't take your plans too seriously. Work out some general guidelines with multiple options. More important, work on your attitude and your character. Remember that none of us can predict the future. What may seem glowingly promising today may turn to ashes tomorrow, and what appears hopeless may hide a bright future after all. I was born in Germany at the beginning of the Second World War. As Germany was collapsing around us at the end of that war and we became refugees, my mother carried around 4 cyanide pills, one for each of us children and one for herself, just in case. In case of what was left unspoken. Fortunately, things turned out okay. She obviously didn't use the pills, at least not on me. And come to think of it, I still have a brother and a sister too. We emigrated to the USA and life became good again. In fact, very good, as my presence here attests. I sincerely hope that none of you will ever face such a dire situation. But the point is that whether you are flying high or in the dumps, buzzed with success, or slack in the backwaters of defeat, you simply don't know what lies ahead. And it is always worth sticking around to keep trying. And cyanide pills are a very bad idea. Let me turn finally to balance. Most of you have now been out of the parental house for about 4 years or more, and have had the freedom to make your own decisions, be they foolish or wise, and to be responsible for your own lives. No doubt you've discovered that the educational benefits of college do not flow only from the classroom. It has been necessary for you to balance diverse demands and desires, study, socializing, having fun, pursuing outside interests, and much, much more. Perhaps you have learned that fulfillment is rarely to be gained from a one-sided existence, all work, all social, all play. When I was in college, I once made a very, shall I say, unusual choice during my analytical chemistry class in the interests of seeking balance in my life. As the professor talked to the blackboard while filling it with an immense and tedious table of numbers nobody understood, I was yearning to find out the results of my experiment over in the biology building. I whispered to my friend in the row in front of me, "For 2 cents, I'd jump out of that window." I was in the last row and the window behind me was open. So he reached into his pocket. You can see what's coming, right? Pulled out 2 bright pennies, plunked them on my desk. So I was 19, what could I do? I folded my notebook, put it under my arm, stepped on my chair, then the radiator, then the windowsill, and jumped. The professor never knew I had decamped. I found out the results of my experiment, which had worked like a charm, and I got an A in analytical chemistry anyway. It was balance of a sort. Now, I don't generally advise students to jump out of windows, at least not literally, especially if the classroom's not on the ground floor. But life should be lived by optimizing, not by maximizing. And sometimes that figurative first floor window may be your only exit. Finding the optimal mix of work, play, outside interests, family, recreation, downtime, uptime, happy time, and sad time will make your life rich and rewarding. In the final analysis, life is a gift and should be lived joyfully, intelligently, with sensitivity to others and to the world around us. We at FSU hope that we have contributed to your capacity to do so. We sincerely wish you all the best. Don't forget us. Thank you.